Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode would be Check Out a Piece by the established AI Generative artist known as DejectedDuplicate. This episode would be talking about this really light texture here. We're going to talk about missing the homeland, and we're also going to talk about the divinity of our natural world, so let's jump right into it. So if I ever first see this work, we have a unique perspective here. We see this lone bridge under this large canopy of a kind of sacred forest here. The viewer's first impression is likely quite in awe, right? You have this flood of green that strikes the viewer instantly. It's quite lively as well, so certainly invigorates the composition and awakens the viewer. What you'll notice here, we have about three main regions right for analysis. You have, of course, under the bridge, you have the horizon of the bridge itself, and you have a lot of negative space that is filled with this canopy as well. It takes up so much of the composition, certainly commands a lot of that space as well. So what we see here in the realm of color is really a kind of analogous scheme with a bit of color-based rarity. What we see, of course, this main foundation of green, then we have a little bit of red within that. That color-based rarity kind of draws our eye towards the bridge's horizon, of course, brings us within this work as well. What you'll notice here is a sense of texture, right? You have this very light, kind of roiling texture that results from the trees. You have a bit of a harsh or a much more rigid texture that results from this kind of metal bridge, right? Those are all very important when we're looking at this work. So you see this kind of juxtaposition, right? Extremely hard, but extremely light here and delicate. You know, we love the wispy nature of the trees here. So there's really no doubt that light drives the work at hand, right? Just invigorates the spatial composition. Extremely bright, extremely lively. We absolutely love that with the natural world, right? So we look at a work like this, it's incredibly large. We see this grand scale. You know, if you were standing on this, you can just imagine how large this scene is. So there is this sense of kind of divine destination, right? You stand at something like this when you're dwarfed by your greater surroundings. It feels sacred in a lot of different ways. There's so many different things you could talk to there. And what we see here is this sense of fantasy, right? These don't seem like actual trees. These are kind of fantasy or renditions of those. But we see here this kind of sense of escapism, right? We always use fantasy or even art in general to create entirely new worlds that we can escape to, especially during our darker of days. So incredibly important. We absolutely love the colors and, of course, the invigorated light. We absolutely love that. So when I was talking to the original artist, he was talking about moving from Dubai to the UK and the toll that that has taken. You know, think of the weather difference. A lot different, closer to the equator, Dubai, of course, and a lot further from the equator is going to be the UK. So the UK gets quite a lot of rain. I believe it's cold at times as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know they do get quite a bit of rain, right? And so moving from Dubai, of course, the homeland, all the way to the UK, it feels quite dull. You know, you have a lot of rain. It's kind of gray and it feels darker. But when you look at a work like this, it's quite the opposite, right? And that's really what the artist is trying to go for, to kind of remind himself of the kind of greater lush environment that's really out there, you know, that the rainy gray world isn't all there is. So we absolutely love this here. And he was actually talking this as a kind of green period. And I think that's really interesting. We're going to take a quick look at the reference there, actually referring to Picasso's blue period, which is a lot darker, but this one is certainly in contrast to that, a much more lighter green period. We're going to look at that real quick, see what we can learn. All right, so about two works from Picasso's blue period here, and this is really interesting, right? When we talk about the blue period, it feels very muted, it feels very dark, it feels very reserved. We certainly see that in both of these, right? For example, I believe this is a self-portrait. You see these very muted colors, very kind of gray tones as well. Kind of looks at the viewer almost with a bit of purse in the lips. Then we look at a work like this, of course, it's extremely tense. The form is kind of hustled over, right? But it's almost as if you found her, you know, she's kind of crying in reserve, incredibly dark as well. We see this very muted aesthetic in Picasso's blue period. But you take this, of course, let's get this out of here. You take that, of course, the very dark blue, you compare it to the green, it's just night and day, right? It invigorates the spatial composition. It's bright and lively. It's hopeful. You know, we absolutely love to see the difference, especially in contrast to Picasso's blue period. And so, yeah, I think it's incredibly important, you know, whenever you move to somewhere like the UK or anywhere that has a bit of duller weather, remind you of what's out there, right? Where you came from, what you know is out there. And so this work does an absolutely brilliant job at that. I truly believe that there is this sense of wanting to return to the homeland, you know, eventually going back to Dubai, eventually feeling that warmer weather and seeing a lot more lush plants, right? He was also talking about, of course, it is around autumn and winter right now. So, of course, the plants are going to be kind of browning and falling as well. So there is a sense of decay that is, you know, a little bit dark as well. So we absolutely love this work. It invigorates the kind of bright and lively world of our natural realm. You know, the natural world is sacred in so many different ways, right? It's the source of life, and of course, the source of life all the way to consciousness as well. Absolutely blessed, and of course, we are part of nature. We can never, change something about nature with, by definition, changing some part of ourselves in some way or another. So, absolutely love this work. Of course, you see the source here, it's extremely sacred. We absolutely love that. Sacred in so many different ways, source of life, consciousness. Of course, we talked about that a bit, but always important to remind ourselves about that. This is an AI generative work, so it was created in an AI generative art program. That program is going to be Dream by Wombo. That's actually the first program I ever used. I downloaded the app and started playing with it. We absolutely love this here. You see this very impressionistic sense from the AI here. Certainly kind of wisped away. Very light and delicate scene. We absolutely love this here. Truly hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, from texture to being homesick to the source of life, the divinity of the natural realm. Talked about these kind of three regions, the flood of green, so many different things we hit on today. I truly hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, go check out the original artist, DejectedDuplicate. Always doing some really good stuff. I'm really blessed to have him as part of the Apollo team as well, so I truly hope y'all enjoyed. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.